Oh, we're going. All right.
Here we go.
We're going.
Woo! Here we go.
Yeah, now...
What were we talking about?
Oh,
I like that.
What the fuck?
Man, this is all getting cut. This is completely unusable. This is completely unusable.
No, it isn't.
But I do like, well, because I was going to say it's nice to have a button to scare away people who aren't true, who aren't real, before we get to talking about that. But that's usually how the first 20 minutes goes anyway.
Your dedication to gatekeeping.
Yeah, yes, I'm a hardline gatekeeper. I don't care what the gate is. I'm keeping it.
if there's any kind of fence, I'm proudly part of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, it's kind of like, it's not even from it's from a perspective of like, that's literally the function of the gate. So I'm not going to let people through it. You know what I mean? Unless the people who own the gate want to open it. Like, so I'll gatekeep unnecessarily.
You're traditionalist. The gate's there for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to question it.
Exactly.
If there's a gate, it works.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to keep it going. You don't want it to rust.
Yeah. Speaking of gatekeeping, did you see on TG that they made an offshoot OSR general because the OSR general was too hardline?
No, I did not.
Yeah. Because it's like...
I think I might have.
It's called Todd.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's kind of lame.
What's the difference?
Well, so the OSR generally concerns itself with the first 10 years of D&D. So like up through like DDs and demigods for AD&D, up through Menser's like basic and expert set, like up to about like 84, 81 or 84 or something like that. And then, people would come in and be like, well, what about Morkborg? And everyone's like, shut up. And it's like, oh, well, but what about 5th edition sometimes? Everyone's like, shut up. So they're like, you guys are mean. We're going to go make a new general. And it's like, literally, you guys already have generals for all this other stuff. Why do you have to come in here and shitter this thing where we're like, here is specifically what we're talking about?
So they just want their own. I mean, it's a game system too. Why do you have to be attached to like these names? Just do a different game system.
Well, it's like
you can't ffeel smug about it.
That's a very important piece of it.
Yeah, but if you have the new OSR, then you're not the OSR.
Yeah,
you're just
doing your own different.
You're
thing,
just using the name,
which is fine. Like that's the thing, right? Is fine. You can do a different new thing. It's just, but we want to do the old thing.
I do think that like when you track like the OSR movement. At the beginning, there was very much this, we're looking for a vibe, we're looking for feelings, like we don't want to go back and play the old system. We actually are seeking like
what we think it should have been.
Yeah. And I feel like the old people had it right, came from people were actually reading the old stuff and realized, oh no, this is actually playable and useful.
Yeah.
And then it caused this fissure between people who we're kind of making their own stuff and people who were like, actually, no, this old stuff is good. And like, it never really healed, which is that and Blogger.
The cord. It's coming through on the mic.
Oh.
This cord with the orange sticker.
All right. I won't touch it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're fine. I was just like, what is that? I was just like trying to figure out.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
It's Vogue Egon. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's, well, it is like a feels versus reals. It's a vibes. Like some people wanted the old school vibes and they did the thing, and then some people are like, well, we actually like these rules. And then the vibes people are like, yeah, but we got the vibes. And then the rules people are like, well, we don't care.
I mean, are you supposed to just if you're real OSR, do you have, Windows XP or DOS, and then you're driving a 1970s, Chevy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Rosetta van
and no Saber.
Yeah.
And then no women allowed.
Right.
I don't know any of the history of OSR.
Well,
so
no women or girlfriends at the table.
Yeah, no girlfriends at the table.
Especially no girlfriends at the table.
I was reading Dragon Magazine 2 today. I was looking through it. There's an entire article about the rules for women in D&D.
Oh, like how to actually be a person?
Yeah. They can be fighters and rogues, and they might be better rogues than men, but
OSR.
they're not allowed to be wizards.
Like
they're not allowed to be wizards.
A woman player can't be wizards?
No, a woman character.
So in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, they already have the thing where they have the whole chart that is like max attributes by race and by gender. Mm-hmm. And basically when you compare them all, the only type of character that's treated differently are human women, and the only difference is that they can't have an 18 strength, they can only have a maximum of 16 strength.
That's
so
funny.
Is that before AD&D came out.
Yes.
So there was who wrote it? Was it Gygax?
I could pull it up.
I
but,
need to see. I want to know why can't they be wizards?
It specifically said something about like they're not as good wizards as men.
That's amazing.
What? Well, is it
That's
supposed
amazing.
to be? Yeah, is it more like medieval times they weren't educated and it just like extends it to that?
it-
Because this is a fantasy universe.
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's-
have
it's
to be the
D&D.
same.
It's funny how some of that stuff is like, well, it's the same thing with women having like 16 strength is like, it's like, oh yeah, this is a fantasy world of magic dragons. You can do whatever you want. Oh, except for this part. This part we're going to bioessentialism.
Yeah.
Or this part. Well, historically, it's like, what?
Yeah.
You can't just switch from, I think it makes sense from a place of like genre emulation at least, because if you take original D&D as like a genre emulation, like sword and sorcery pulp thing, but like at the same time, there's plenty of like, evil like women sorcerers and women fighter pro tags and stuff. So
Yeah.
it really just goes to like, it is funny how it's like, if it's something I like, it's fine, it goes. If it's something I don't like, then history or biology says
It's on
and
my
it's
side.
like,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like, what the
I heard
fuck?
the same sentiment. This is a woman author who was talking about with fantasy books, and she's just like, they're just like, yeah, women just can't do this in this fantasy world. It's like, okay, but why not? Well, because it's based on the time. Where there's dragons back then in your time? Well, and it's just like, okay. And but the idea is she keeps pushing me like, it's fantasy. Shut the fuck up. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You can't make up this world that doesn't exist.
I do think, not to defend this lady,
But you do.
if you're the one who's like making the fantasy rules, like it's really easy. There's no gunpowder in my setting. Why? Because I'm the DM and I don't want there to be guns.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's all you have to say.
You were the sole
Now-
shepherd of your milieu. You
Yeah.
could do whatever
Yeah,
you
but I
want.
think
now,
the
if you're gonna
idea
be
was that
a
she-
misogynist. Like,
I
that's
think
on
the idea
you.
is that they're
Yeah,
defending
yeah.
it based on history instead of just having a backbone and just saying like no.
Yeah, that's the based thing to do. Is like,
Yeah, I don't
it's
want that.
like, it's like, why can't women be wizards? Why are they as strong as men? Because I said so.
Yeah, I believe.
that's-
I think that was the idea in a literary standpoint, which is just like, whoa, that's history. And it's not. You just don't want it. Just say it.
Yeah, just say it.
Because a
Just
lot of
straight up
times
say
the
it.
bigotry is just like, just admit it.
Yeah, just
It's
straight up say it.
defending is the weird part.
And it's already so. And again, it's like even because then it's like, yeah, I would respect it a lot more if it's like because Will's right. It's like it's my world.
Yeah.
It could be whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
Um.
Full Conan universe, all women are Skippy.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
They're all
yeah.
asking for Conan to do everything, and they're all like,
They're all hanging off his legs or whatever.
tricky. They're all tricking him all the time.
Right. But yeah. But then like oh man, so many thoughts are going through my head. So first, it's like, yeah, the referee is the sole shepherd of their milieu, and they can say, hey, this is how it is, and you can be like, well, I don't want to play here then, and then you just and then that's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all that you have to do.
Yeah.
But I even feel like that's not defensible because a lot of people who in one breath might say things like, oh, but my history, but my biology, but my
Oh, God, yeah.
but my sword and sorcery, they're the ones who are reading and buying like Red Sonja comics. They're the ones who are like look, there's plenty of like, again, I'm saying a lot of stuff I already said, but basically like the Conan the Barbarian movie, one of the main protagonists is a fighting woman.
Yeah,
You know,
in Conan
like-
lit books, a lot of that happens. It's
Yeah.
just that a lot of his stories start out with like the one I read recently, which is like Conan's about to bang this girl, and then her actual lover walks in and she tricks Conan to kill him.
All right.
And then she was like, "Are you ready to do anything else?" And he's like, "I could kill you right now." She's like, "I know." And he's like, "I'm not, I guess."
I
And
know.
walks away.
I know Robert E. Howard did like write or like ran in a lot of like pulp detective like circles and stuff too. So it makes sense to have the femme fatale is inescapable, even in sword and sorcery
it's in
around
there a
that
lot.
time. Yeah, they're just tricking you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Volume 1, Number 3 of Dragon, October 76.
Wow.
Notes on Women and Magic by Lynn Lakovka. There will be 4
Huh.
major groups in which women may enter. They may be fighters, magic users, thieves, and clerics. They may
Thieves.
progress to the level of men in the area of magic and in some way surpass men as thieves. Elven women may rise especially to high levels in clerics to the elves. Only as fighters are women clearly behind men in all cases, but even they have attributes that their male counterparts do not. And one of the things they talk about is instead of charisma, they get beauty. Rated on two 20-sided dice, numbered 1 to 10. And then beauty and exceptional beauty are important to thieves, fighters, and magic users. Clerics may not use beauty if they are lawful or neutral. Chaotic clerics may use their beauty score.
That is okay. I like that a lot more than I thought I would, because that is basically just like one-for-one genre emulation.
Yeah.
I think it does a better job. So that's like misogynist, but like more in like an of the time sort of way.
Yeah.
Like men and women are good at different things.
The more
not
you
like,
lean into it, the more fun it gets. If you treat it too seriously, I think that's where it gets a problem.
Right, but then you have like, women thieves being able to progress to a higher level, or being able to use their beauty to like trick, guards or whatever. Or then you have like evil female clerics who are like using demon summoning and succubi and like sex magic. Those are things that show up in like sword and sorcery all the time.
Yeah.
So that's a good outlet.
So there's
for
a spell. So female magic users can get the Charm Men and Charm Humanoid Monster spells. Charm Men is used versus hirelings and low-level fighters.
Not Conan.
Is that the first instance of Charm Monster?
I don't think it's the first instance of Charm Monster, but I think this is a specific call out to girls can basically tell hirings to stay on. Please go to this dungeon for me.
Look at my tits and be inspired. Look upon me and be inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's still not great.
Oh.
But at least one again from
Charman.
I think from a genre emulation perspective, that's fine. I also like that a lot more than AD&D's. The only difference is women are weaker. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only
This is a more
difference.
fun way to deal with it.
It is
Well,
more fun.
It's way more fun to deal with.
I've really been enjoying going back to the old Dragon magazines and like seeing what things they were thinking about and how they're writing about the game, like as it's coming out.
Yeah.
It's also just wild to look at all the ads for like, you guys want to go to Gen Con 3?
Oh God! What year was that?
This was 76, October 76. And,
Wow. Gen Con 3.
I didn't realize it started that early.
I really think it's so Rob Kuntz wrote a post about, how they did the 50th anniversary of D&D thing, and they basically republished like, here's a publication history of OD&D, here's OD&D reproduced and all that stuff. Well, Wizards spent a lot of word count talking about how like let me see.
Wow.
So the nation's premier wargaming convention, Gen Con 9 in 1976.
Wow.
That art is sick. That fucking rules. Special guest Fritz Lieber.
Oh,
that
yeah.
rules.
And
wow. Goodman Games formats their shit like this.
Yeah.
They like steal the format. That's cool.
Literally the next edition, they there's an ad for proud to present the game of Linkmar, the Fritz Lieber game.
Oh wow, that's so much fun. That's so cool.
It's fun to kind of. Oh God, the historian's talking. It's fun to go into the past and see what's going on in primary sources.
Yeah,
in the past.
all around it. Yeah, it's all around it. What's in it? Yeah,
that's what I've been doing a lot with, because I am doing a.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, by the way.
No, you're good. I am doing like an OD&D retro clone, and like in order to contextualize some of that text, you have to like read all these other stuff. You have to read stuff like that. Charm Monster did appear in Book 1 of OD&D, so that's not particularly new. Mm-hmm. Charming humanoid, a spell that allows them to charge humanoids. What level is that spell?
Charm Man.
Because Charm humanoids, if it's lower than level 4, then that's actually better than Charm Monster in some instances, and is thus a benefit. It is thus a boon to the women folk.
I like how it's like a spell too. Like it's just it's like an innate spell, but it's not. I need to learn it, right?
Characters must have a beauty score of 11 or higher for magic users and a 13 or higher for wizards or fighters. It's not tied to level.
Wow.
So a level 1 female thief could cast quote unquote.
So it's innate.
That's actually pretty sick. That's pretty crazy.
I love that.
The effect of this charm is to prevent battle.
Charm Man.
So it's like a positive reaction roll. You have a bad reaction roll, and if you so happen to have, because it's balanced too, because you have to have a female character with a certain amount of beauty, but you can basically, yeah. Well, I mean that's above average.
Yeah.
Well, but that provides a gameplay. So AD&D, you have no gameplay reason to play a woman. They're just less strong than men. That's the only thing. This, it's like, well, they don't get as high in these levels. They do get higher in others. And if we have a female character that gets good stat generation, then we can ignore hostile reaction rolls. So that's actually pretty good. That's actually a pretty nice boon. Yeah, I think we should bring that back. I think we should put misogyny back in the game.
Because in races
for gameplay reasons, for mechanics reasons.
Because races add bonuses in this edition, right? Or is it just a feature?
So
you get features?
how typically in OSR games, how race works is in BX there was something called a race class. So you weren't like a fighter or magic user thief, you were just an elf.
Yes, yeah.
And you had different, class progression. How it worked in OD&D is your race gave you special features, but you were limited in your class advancement. The boon of being a human is that you had unlimited class advancement, and all of the racial caps for class levels meant that it basically meant that non-humans could not own land.
Right.
So that's its
Really?
own. Yes.
I never caught on.
So the highest. So okay, think of it like this. The lowest level landowning is cleric at level 8. Mm-hmm. Only humans can be clerics. So the next lowest is fighter, because wizards can't own land. They can create towers and stuff, but they don't own land per se. They have to like mind control people and cast fireballs from their tower, which is cool. It's like, yeah, no one's going to give the crazy wizard a kingdom, but the crazy wizard can take a kingdom. You know what I mean? He can rule the dark lands from his tower. I like that idea. Again, this is talking about OD&D as like genre emulation. So anyway, the next, so because no non-humans can be clerics, non-humans can be fighters. You have to be a 9th level fighter to own land. The highest anyone can get is the dwarf to 6th level fighter. In fact, the only class level the highest class level anybody can get at is elf at 8th level mage.
So allow me to defend that. Just hearing it.
I was going to defend it anyway. But
okay. I was going to say it's like, yeah, dwarves and elves can't go out into the wilderness and found their own kingdom, but like they're supposed to already have their kingdoms. They're supposed to be the elven kingdoms, the dwarven kingdom. Like,
correct.
It's not so much that they can't go out and do their own thing. It's like, no, you've raised enough status, you can go back to your home a hero.
Correct. Yes, that is 100% what it is. And like, so what I was going to say is that this all ties in. Rob Kuntz was very, very upset and wrote a post about how Wizards is basically just washing OD&D as problematic. They spend a lot of lip service in the book to be like, oh yeah, they're all just a bunch of old racists. Great, we don't play that way anymore, huh? And it's like really insulting, especially, not only to the people who are still alive, who made the game, made D&D what it is, but also to people like me who really appreciate that game and understand that that's not what it is. However, you look at things like, for example, okay, I am, because the other thing is your race or your type also determines your alignment. And law and chaos are used a little bit, and then it pretty quickly just evolves to using good and evil in the text. So we we understand what you actually mean, good and evil, to the point where in my retroclone I was about to rename them good and evil, but it's literally like, oh, you're going to be a goblin? Okay, well, not only can you not own land because you're not a human, you're also evil because you're a goblin. And that's definitely, not great. So on the surface, yes. But then when you think about it from like a genre emulation perspective, like what you're describing, where it's like, well, we are playing in like the frontier of like men, of like humans and stuff. So the elves and stuff, yeah, they're already like, I'm 500 years old. The elves have never left the forest. I'm just going to go back to the forest. It's an anomaly that I'm even here, and I'm probably not going to be here for like a long time. I'm probably going to be some sort of weird wanderer or something, right? But then you add on the weird thing that it's like, man, there sure is a lot of going into unknown lands and conquering land, and humans can just do that and have to do that, and that's also very interesting. So it's very complicated, but again, I feel like by reading all of that in that way and emphasizing that reading of it, it's very clear that the people who are saying that also haven't read the material that it comes from. Like, how much Tolkien have these people actually read?
I
You know
was
what I mean?
I was
That's
actually
kinda-
going to bring up Redwall. Have you guys ever read Redwall?
Oh yeah.
He knows. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard Red Bull a little bit.
So Brian Jacques, I mean, it's, fantasy woodland creatures. But in all of the books, the mice and the badgers and the rabbits are the good people, and the rats and the stoats and the weasels are the bad people.
Mhm.
And somebody actually asked him, like, are there good rats? Are there, like, is it race determinism like this? And he's like, no, it's not that they're bad because they're rats. It's that they're rats because they're bad. It's that the symbol.
That's just some Mormon stuff.
That's almost worse.
And there's there's one of the last books that he wrote, which is about the Redwallians, like, bring in a weasel child, a stoat child into Redwall, and he kills somebody and like escapes Redwall, and it was the sense of like he was always bad to begin with.
Yeah, they were like, of course he would do that. Yeah,
Wow.
it's like,
Oh my
that's actually
and so
that's kind of fucking nuts.
There's the other side of race essentialism.
Yeah.
There's like, oh no, maybe we should stop making orcs evil, and then it's just like, why not? They are evil.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, they're
They
the
are
bad
evil.
guys. They're in
What do you mean? They are evil. Yeah.
yeah. Especially like, I think on one hand, because my problem is like, yes, you can read that all that way, and there's problems like that, like what you described, well, definitely where it's like, but it's like you can't lay that all at the feet of D&D. It's definitely the time period it came up in. It's definitely the source material that the game is based off of. Like, you'd have to blame sword and sorcery and fantasy pretty much as genres in their entirety if you're going to be, doing this.
like anything with Lovecraft, which is like just everyone talks about Lovecraft with horror and how like philosophically he changed all that horror genre, and they're just like, okay, we're gonna talk about the good parts.
Yeah, we're gonna not talk
they
about
found
it.
the cult in the swamp, and it was filled with those people.
Yeah, literally. Or M.A.R. Barker. Fucking, like him coming out that he's like, yeah, he wrote a Turner Diaries knockoff, like, and then that got revealed. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like, again, you can't lay all of that at the feet of like the game. So to kind of like paint it all as, wow, look at how problematic and useless this is. I think it's the same sort of talk that made me want to make an OD&D retro clone, which is people just taking it and being like, oh, this is an incomplete, useless game. This is a relic of a bygone era that doesn't actually work and you can't actually play. And it's like, but you can,
I take the much more cynical view of, I feel like a lot of that discussion doesn't come from, I mean, I think the creators at Wizards of the Coast who are making 5.5, I think they have taken the time to read the old stuff, but I honestly think it's more of a commercialization thing where it's like, we have to sell a product, and so we have to justify the creation of a new product, and therefore we're going to say these things so that people will go, oh, we can't use this, we have to buy that. And then it will be a constant treadmill of, you need to buy the next new edition.
Here's the chess move. Because they're changing from Forgotten Realms to Greyhawk, presumably because of Ed Greenwood's minty breast milk comments. So
His correct comments.
yeah, it's correct. His canon comments.
Patch notes, Bilty Green. Bilky Green.
Patch notes.
I've got an entire Underdark campaign built around.
Yeah. No, guys, please let me run it. Please, where is everybody going? Please let me run it.
Please.
I'm Ed Greenwood. I'm Ed fucking Greenwood. Anyway, your matron's full tits. Where's everybody going? Well, we just started. What's happening?
Roll before you go. I want to see what happens.
Please.
Put your clothes back on. No. Roll first.
Roll first. But I think it's like a 4D chess thing. Greyhawk has its roots in those original editions, which are problematic. So in order to use Greyhawk to get away from Ed Greenwood, they have to really just put a stake in the chest of the old editions to be like, hey, those are problematic. They weren't very good anyway by our new editions because we do a better job and it's designed better and it's not problematic.
And I mean, it's two birds with one stone because, I mean, like, indie games are always the shadow in D&D. Like D&D's 900-pound gorilla, and everybody else is trying to carve out a little bit by saying, hey, we're not going to use these old racist rules. They're also making a dig at, like, are you really going to buy indie stuff based on the old stuff, or do you want to join the cool kids in corporate city?
And you know what? They had fucking better do that as hard as possible, because there's still copies of the Player's Handbook for 5th edition floating around with certain names in it that they probably want to not have in there.
Yeah. I mean, convenience. Everyone plays this one edition, and then they update it, so then presumably most people are going to do it. But then because of all this copyright stuff, people have been like, oh, there is other things except D&D. There's a whole world of, like, maybe we just play board games, or maybe we try this. And it's like, I mean, learning a new game system is pretty, I would say, like, pulling teeth, unless you, like, really like to read those things. But as someone that doesn't, it's like pulling teeth. Like, every time I read it, I'd rather be reading a novel or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more interested about the story. So then as soon as I have to stop the story and then find out how someone defecates or, like, throws something, and then it's, like, not intuitive because I'm not used to it. Like, it's definitely good as, like, a muscle exercise of, like, the more editions you learn, the faster and easier it gets to learn the editions.
Yeah, I was going to say
you start saying, you start seeing, like, okay, all these philosophies of different systems and how they work. But, man, when you haven't had that philosophy built yet, oh, my God, it takes so long to, like, get into that mode of, like, how are they different? And then how I can learn them easily, because I just think it's, if someone only knows 5th, I've talked to people and they're so afraid to change from 5th because they think everything's like completely different. And it's like sometimes it obviously can be a big difference, but it's like it also just learn it, and it's not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah,
So for an old group of mine, we did Pathfinder, and every Friday we would do indie extravaganza.
Wow.
I would just bring an indie game, and I was like, I'm going to teach you guys a new game, like one shot, no stress. It doesn't have anything to do with our Pathfinder game, but we're gonna try something new.
Okay.
And I would run Fiasco, and I ran Dogs of the Vineyard, and I ran
Dogs of the Vineyard is probably one of the quickest ones.
Oh yeah.
Just yell at people.
Yeah. And I would run, like, and this was back when the Forge was really big.
Yeah.
So I would run lots of little games so that when the day came for us to move from Pathfinder, they
Muscle
understood
memory.
how to learn a new game, so we could move to something that wasn't Pathfinder First
I like
Edition.
that a lot.
It's almost like an endurance, because you just have to be, like, willing to go through it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good way to, teach that. And small games too. Like, definitely, like, Vineyards. The Dogs of the Vineyard is one of the easier ones to do. But you were saying,
Well, I think you're right. I think cultivating that mentality is hard to cultivate, and to help people cultivate it, you can either run you reduce the barrier to entry. You either run a lot of small games, or you run one game where if you're punished for if you make a mistake, the punishment isn't that bad.
Yeah.
Like, historically, OSR games are considered that way because it takes 3 minutes to make a new character.
Yeah.
So you die, and it's like, oh, that sucks, but then I can get right back into it. It's not this whole thing that I have.
I think we had like 3 Fridays in a row where, like, people would just bring Fiasco playbooks, and we just played Fiasco, and
that's so much fun.
to the point where, like, I think one of the people, like, she joined a Fiasco podcast because she was like, oh no, I don't play.
Wow, that's cool.
like, they played
Holy
the game or
shit.
talked about Fiasco.
They played the game.
Oh, okay. But
It was like
then
an
they recorded it.
actor's thing.
So they recorded it. Yeah.
That's cool. Man, that's fun.
That's a good way to do it.
That's a really good way to do it.
That's specific players you built up too, because, like, a lot of people, you get home from work and you play D&D. You play D&D because it's a fantasy. It's like reading a novel, you know, like, especially like the more commercialized, like, you read the novel in like a weekend, where, like, you sit down, you have your candy, and you move on. But, like, going over that is an endurance. That's building endurance right there.
It is, and I think
it's better for it, though.
It's the reason why tabletop role playing is still very much an oral tradition, and why Wizards is still fiendishly trying to figure out how to capitalize upon it. Because you are always, the model that you will never beat is the one GM who owns and has read all the books, and the 4 players who have not read any of the books and do not own anything.
And they don't want to. They'd
Yeah.
rather do something else.
They learn what they need to in time. You know, to be the person who's like spreading, who's like continuing the tradition of like tabletop role playing. You have to be the type of person who's like, I can just read rule books for fun. I can
not me.
I can do that because I do it for a living.
I hate it.
The forever DM, God's chosen child.
Correct.
I was going to say,
yeah.
like, I've heard about groups that have 10 people on the table and it's a forever GM. And I'm like, how? How do you get anything done? I know you guys have run larger groups. I don't know how you get anything done.
You don't get anything done with
It sounds like
that's
sounds like
impossible.
hell. It sounds like the DM is running at 110 CPU percentage of CPU, and then just like everyone just on their phones the whole time, and then you're just like, are you gonna do something? And you're like, where are we at this point?
Here's how you run 10
I don't know
people.
how you do it.
You transition to weekly games, and you only run for the people who show up.
Yeah, that's very true. Then you'll always have 4 players.
Yeah, you'll always have at least 4.
I just know people that have like 10 consecutively.
I've only successfully done that with like LARPs, because at least live action role play, is a model that, and like parlor games, like not necessarily like full costume, full voices or whatever, but like basically it's like, we have 16 people in a room and we're all talking to each other about different things and everybody's invested and everyone's going. But that's a whole other type of game. And if you're already talking about someone who, 1, only knows how to play D&D, and 2, doesn't even really know how to play D&D well, to be like, all right, it's LARP time is like a really huge ask, especially for over a dozen people. So.
Yeah, it's very particular. It's like, learning other editions is definitely good. It's just like reading a hard book. It's like you should do it, even though it's hard. It is better. It just try it. Just try it.
That's kind of the mentality you take with it.
I mean, there's like you look at YouTube and you see thumbnails all the time, and I've seen like some which is like, you should just try reading harder books. Like, I think I believe, my guess is, I haven't seen the video, it's talking about like, hey, don't like underestimate yourself. Like, either it's gonna be hard and just do it, because you'll every time, the fact that you're doing it is already gonna improve a lot of things about like how you read and like the vocabulary you get from it, and like you're probably smarter than you think. I think a lot of it. That's like hearing about like game design and like story building is like, treat your audience like they're smarter. Like, don't dumb down your audience. Treat them like they're actually smart is like a lot. I don't know. I hear like a lot of philosophy in the sense of like game or literature discussions about theory, which is like, don't dumb down your audience. Like, treat them like they're smart. So I believe that's the idea, the angle of that is that it's just like, you're probably smarter than you think. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, like, hey, it's a zip line. And you're like, oh, I couldn't do it. And then they throw on the zip line like, woo, and then they go again. Sometimes you build your own walls that you don't realize you built yourself.
It's bleak how stupid people think they are.
Yeah.
Like, it's very unfortunate, because I think that's really, really true. Like, I feel like a lot of the, I'm not going to do this or not going to push myself is literally because it's like, that couldn't be me. And it's like, why not couldn't it be you?
In real life,
like, what do you mean,
I talked to somebody who's a receptionist for chiropractic, and she's just like, that sounds so interesting and stuff. Like, yeah, you could just start picking it up. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. You could go home and start learning anatomy, and it's like, if you wanted to do it, whether or not you believe it is a real thing. But for her, obviously, I wasn't going to bring that up.
Believe in anatomy?
Chiropractic.
Oh, okay. You're gonna go home whether or not you believe it, and I'm like,
In the science.
in like,
is my wrist?
in like, yeah.
You believe that?
You can't prove anything.
You think my wrist is real?
Oh, you're a bone believer?
3 humors, buddy. Look them up.
3. It's the humor's buddy.
This might be my choleric talking.
Yeah. No, but she was just like, I'm like a receptionist. Why would I do it? Like, because you can. Like, just learn anatomy. And she's like, oh, yeah, I could. It's like, just do it on your off time. Or do it there. It's just slow build. Yeah. Anatomy is just learning a lot of things.
And it's also, I think another part of it, it's not just... I think half of it is, I think I'm dumber or worse than I am, so I'm not going to try the thing. But then I think the other part of it is the helplessness involved in trying a new thing.
Yeah.
Because, so I've been thinking about starting to go to like a boxing gym or something, because I really did like boxing. And I'm like, I really don't want to have to walk in there and whatever. But I feel like if you go into something like that with the mentality of like, I'm an empty vessel for you to fill.
Dude, that's the best way to do it.
It is like,
best way to do it.
You could,
people pick up on that.
Yeah.
I've been doing more yoga stuff, and I've been doing more of the weirder stuff too. Like, there's just one that I looked online, it's like, this is going to be just chanting for an hour. I'm like, okay, sure. And I got there, and they're just like, do you know what you're going to be doing? no, I have no idea why I'm here. And they're like, okay. And it was just like chanting random Sanskrit for an hour. But it was nice because I just got basically the way that they also wanted it to be done is you chant for an hour and your mind literally just goes somewhere else. It was very nice. It's like white noise.
It's meditation.
It was so
nice.
nice.
To blunt the killing edge of the Brahmin class.
It was so nice. Like they It was so nice. Like you could be like, oh, it's really weird you're just chanting with a room of like 10 people or like 20 people. It's like, I don't know. I sat there and I got to chill for an hour and like my mind, like I just thought about like writing stuff for like the game I have. I was like completely out of distraction and was in my own mind. Like it felt like I was on a desk and I was like finally in this writing desk and there was nothing else in my way. I loved it. But yeah, cool. I came in, I do some of these events and I had no idea what I was doing. And I was just like, I don't know, I'm just here. And it was great. And I've been trying to do that more. Like there's like a mycelial society of like mushroom people, like mushroom foragers. And I haven't, yeah, every state has one. And there's a foraging day. And I'm like, I just need to do it. Cause I'll get there and they're like, how much do you know? A little bit. And they're like, all right, let's go look. And I'll be like, woohoo.
Yeah. I read something, That's closed mouth doesn't get fed. That you would be surprised how many people want to help you if you'll just ask.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, having that open mind.
Especially if, like, I feel like even if you know some things, you go and say you know nothing. And you're loud about how you know nothing. Because even if you're, like, who knows? Maybe if it's something you already know, you'll be taught a different way and, or a more interesting way. But also it's like, what other way is there to get started pushing the boulder up the mountain than starting at the bottom of the mountain?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
to bring this back to like D&D stuff, like how many times as like DMs you go to other people's tables and there's a sense in which like, yeah, I'm the DM at my table and I know how this all works. And you have to kind of shut that voice off and be like, no, I'm a player and I'm here to kind of, play in this game, but I also want to see how other people do it because maybe they run games in a way that I actually want to run games and they have a skill or an ability or a flourish that like I want to emulate.
It's a skill share.
Yeah.
There are players who are there to be entertained, which is totally fine because that's the point of a game like that.
Yeah.
But then to have players who are also like, which I think is nice about like, Casey, like all of us here, basically, we all play and we all run. So we have like a
constantly
constant,
different
like,
philosophies
kind of going on. Yeah.
By the way, I'm not Casey.
Well, I know.
We never introduced him.
You never introduced
We never introduced him.
Oh.
So this is...
Good, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, he's introduced anyway.
You can read my blog. It's at... All right.
I didn't know you meant that.
Do you...
It's at caravancarl.com.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll do plugs really quick.
No, you don't have to.
It's me.
No, well,
I just thought it was really funny.
It's me, Gary.
We were 30 minutes in, and you didn't introduce.
I never introduced anyone.
Well, he also didn't do his
podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now that you reminded me that I need to sell my stuff, now we're doing plugs.
38 minutes in.
38 minutes
in.
Do it. Well.
Wrong
that was the wrong one.
No, it's I do the applause because you said you did your game. Yay!
Yeah.
Publish your game.
Yeah. Yeah, like almost a year ago now, which sucks. So, okay, Will is our guest today. Obviously, that's not Casey.
Woo!
Obviously, I'm not talking about... I meant, like, all of us at the table, and then, like, also Casey, and I wasn't just...
I know.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't. I was lost.
Will is our guest. He's been on before. We didn't introduce him then either. Sorry, but his...
Oh, we did? I thought we did.
I thought you did.
No, we didn't.
We didn't?
Because that's... No, I mean, that's kind of what I like
that.
about our... I like not having a format, and I like how we just kind of barrel in naturally. Because the moment it's like, all right, welcome to the episode. We have a special guest today, and it fucks me up. But
in theory, it'd be in the description. In theory,
I do put it in the description.
You do.
I do put guest Will in the descriptions of those ones.
Okay.
And guest Ben when Ben's guest. But anyway, yes, Will's here. He has a blog, really, really, really good. Caravancarl.com. Go check it out.
I'll just see it.
Long form game articles.
I don't think you plugged it last time, so maybe you did.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, okay. Whoops.
Nobody reads it.
I would have read it.
It's a diary that other people can read. Honestly, that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's lit. A lot of cool theory and very well put together posts. So you should read that. Sorry, I'm like I completely lost steam.
You should post a
on that.
link because I'd rather push a link than like try to type that in.
No. Anyway,
Dude, if I had to type in someone said, I'm gonna get it wrong. My spelling is awful.
next plug. Give us money. Wrong. KO. ko-fi.com/wrong room. That's coffee.com/wrong room. Pay us money. We'll answer your questions. We'll read your comments. We'll roast you. We'll drive to your house. We'll kill you. We'll kill your whole family. Because I'll get your address. I'll get your PayPal info. I'll post it online. I'll know who you are. I'll know the schools your kids go to. And then buy my stuff specifically. Bylecosmo.com, bylecosmo.com. That's where Trackmarks is. I'm kind of depreciating Bylecosmo because I am developing an OD&D clone from the ground up because no one else has done it well, so I have to fucking do it myself, like everything. And that is going to be at swordofjustin.com. And if you go there, it's like a blank page, but it is there. So bookmark it, I promise.
It's just a blank page?
It says Sword of Justin, and then that's about it.
So go there for what?
I don't know, to get my metrics up, I guess. I don't know how.
So you go there, but there's nothing there?
Yeah.
Man, when I was a big IT guy, I always wanted to be the guy who bought domains and just like, I have an idea, I want to buy and I was never that guy, but I'm glad somebody's living my dream.
So I buy, okay.
Yeah, seriously.
I have, oh my God.
1,000 domains, I'll point you to
what?
one page.
Literally, you know what? Cal Newport supports me, though, on that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was talking, I've always felt so bad about making people change their links to me whenever I change the project I'm working on, completely dump everything and move on to the next one. And then, I was reading a lot of those books, and Cal Newport's like, yeah, this guy's super successful. He does that all the time. And I'm like, it's me! I'm that guy! I do things that make people rich! It turns out that makes you rich, do it! Like,
that's me, yeah.
That's so me!
Okay, but
oh my God, that's so me!
I'm deep working. I'm doing
it!
What was the company that was doing
Newport!
I'm guessing it was like an independent like photographer.
I don't remember what
I doubt it's like a major
he was
company.
No, it was a guy, and he was like an entrepreneur and an eccentric, and like it definitely framed it as like, I mean, that's a really bad thing he's doing
but he makes it work.
But he somehow makes it work, and I'm like, that's me. I'm that guy. I'm like him. Yeah.
That 1 in 1,000.
Yeah, that guy. He's literally me.
that makes me think of that one sketch where the guy walks up and he's just like, "Hey," and there's a guy at the door, and just like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm the guy that pisses in my mouth. You stop paying for my OnlyFans." He's like, "What?" "Yeah, you stop paying. I need this money, man." He's like, "Did you go to my house for this?"
That would be amazing.
It's like that to me. It's like that to me. I piss in my mouth guy. This guy.
If
I changed my domain, but I'm the same guy.
If I had an OnlyFans and I was making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month or whatever, and someone unsubscribed, I would pick, because if you have an account that big, there's probably people subscribing and unsubscribing all the time. I'd pick one unlucky unsubscriber and show up to their house.
Dude,
and be like, hey, can you just tell me why? It's like, my wife's here, you gotta go. And it's
this is a reverse porno.
Yeah, that's what this sketch is great.
It's a reverse porno. You want, by any means necessary, to not have sex with me.
Oh yeah, this sketch is great. He walks in and he's just like, "Oh, I see you have coffee, huh? So you can't you could pay for my thing." He's like, "Oh man, I lost my job."
It's like Starbucks,
and he's like, "Oh well, you have this like a nice art. You could sell that." And it's just him trying to like force him.
Sell the.
He did. Yeah. He literally was just like, I see you. Did you just get a dog? Well, we had a dog, and he's just like, well, you seem to be just fine paying for these things, but not paying for me to piss my mouth. He's like, shut up. He's like, shut up.
My family's inside.
That's what I imagine. Yeah.
That would be awesome to just once a month. You're bored. You posted your content. You're like, all right, unsubscribe list.
Content.
That guy. I'm gonna go to random.org. I'm gonna pick a guy, and that guy, I'm gonna go ruin his fucking life. Just because I can. I'm gonna go ruin his ever-loving life.
The absolute rush of power that you would get, like a mid-level bureaucrat.
yeah. Like someone who's responsible for processing layoffs on your team, and you're just like, your hair stands up on end.
So not only are you making $100,000, because you said you got to a point where money doesn't mean anything. So money doesn't mean anything.
I'm doing it for just anyway.
That's what you're doing with your free time, since you don't have another job.
I'm really popular. The subscriptions are $6. Jeez. I'm going after that guy for a $6. Yeah.
But it's just because you don't have have a regular job anymore. So
Yeah.
that's all you want to do is keep those people.
The
there.
first half of the month I do my job. The last half of the month I go and harass people.
Piss in the Mouth guy goes to another fan's place. And
So like just ring camera footage of me everywhere, just showing up on people's
Jeez.
doorsteps.
There
And guess
is
what?
the same people.
stop unsubscribing.
You better not.
Yeah, you best not.
better not.
I'll put you on that. I'll put you on that list. It's a reverse lottery. You know, it's like being drafted.
Dude,
you
it's
know?
it's like doing Nextdoor, because Nextdoor requires you to actually know that it's at your physical address.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to, so you can't just make up you're in this neighborhood.
Yes, you can. I did that today.
Oh well, it tries to make it so like you're in the address. I mean, for most people, they wouldn't be going through the effort, but this is like. Yeah, Jimmy does this for OnlyFans, which is just double checking that this is your real address before you're officially signed in.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I'm just
It's like
now I'm thinking about like you write a script where you feed everybody's payment information into their voter registration, and then you basically like track
Oh yeah,
like who's independents, who's Republicans, who's Democrats.
yeah, damn.
So anyway, go to ko-fi.com/wrong room and
We know,
give
we
us
know.
your payment info and nothing bad will happen.
Jeez.
Yeah, keep asking us questions and we won't harm
What
you.
were we even talking about beforehand?
I don't remember.
Were we talking about like wholesome?
We were talking
gaming
about
things?
how old school D&D's racist. We're talking about well, actually more
Which is
more
what?
sexist than
It's
anything.
cra-
You made the comment about like art that assumes the people who are viewing the art are dumb, and how like
Yeah,
people, hey,
for
you know
film,
better. Yeah, like
anything.
you're actually pretty smart. I also think that there's another place where like people who create the art assume the audience is dumb because they want it to be the lowest common denominator so they can sell it to more.
I mean,
and more
that's what
people.
they say. That's what we hear about.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
So-
think that what people say is stop thinking that way. Assume your audience, because I mean, the same audience. There's a video game. There's an indie video game that has some like Easter eggs. The same audience is going to spend 400 hours figuring out your stupid little Easter egg in your
Yeah.
game. So then, like, why are we assuming the audience? Like, yes, some people don't have any kind of connection to the art they enjoy, and some people spend 400 hours to figure out art. So
And
it's
it's
like,
worth it just for those people.
yeah,
We were talking about on the way here about like, this kind of goes into the conversation about like, we were talking about genre emulation earlier, and it's like, yeah, there's all these problems with this game ostensibly. I don't give a shit because I really like the type of game it is and the fiction it emulates and all that stuff. And like, it is better to find like one person who likes the same shit you do than like give that same thing to 1,000 people. But you won't find that one person if you don't give the thing to 1,000 people.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
that's real gatekeep right there.
It could be but it also could be the other way around too. That is very gatekeeping.
Like the way you described is the most gatekeep. You're like, oh god, 10,000 other people are gonna enjoy this.
Yeah. And that's,
oh man, this sucks.
Ew.
Ew.
So many people have
but
to
one
like
guy
this.
really enjoys it.
Well. I mean, yeah. No, that's it. That's the point. No, you got it on the head.
Well,
no,
yeah.
well, but the other way around is someone might encounter it and then also have their realize they like that too. Because like you whatever you're putting out in the world, even if it never gets seen again, has like the chance of like radically changing someone's life.
Revitalizing. I mean,
You know
there's
what I
this
mean?
stuff
Yeah.
that like music books that come back out in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know?
There's-
you never know.
There's you and I don't even know. I can maybe name I can maybe think of a few, but it's like I can't even name the books or the things or the people I've met anymore that have led to me being like, these things are awesome. These are the things I love. These are the things
Will's
I
right there.
enjoy.
Matt's right here. I mean, we got names. Okay, you could remember
Yeah.
us. I know. A second ago you got our names wrong, but you can remember us.
Oh, I did get your names wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not Greg.
Whatever. I do my for those at home. I do my podcast. I do the podcast with my eyes closed. I don't look at the. I do.
He
it
drives also.
like you know how
that way?
James Maynard Keenan does Tool live shows. And he's like not on stage. It's like all dark, and he's like back behind the stage. That's how I do that.
Oh,
podcast.
really? Ooh, weird.
Yeah, he's
You
fucking
know how
weird.
Gary Gygax would, run the game behind a file
Yeah,
cabinet? That's how you run this podcast.
Yeah.
That's how I do this from behind the pulled out.
But
I
was-
haven't seen him in years.
I was thinking in the along that same line, which is like, building for maybe an audience you don't know about, which is like, there was a recent discussion of like, there's all these books are coming out are all catering to like book talk, and how like all these books are only that, but then all the books that are famous came out 10 years 10 years ago now, and that's why they're being famous. So it's
Right.
like, eventually, yeah, there's probably going to be books that are like specifically only that a certain demographic is going to like. But right now, the biggest books on Book Talk are 10 years old. So
Yeah.
you never know.
It's
And that's what people argue. Oh, it's
Yeah.
just the lowest common denominator. Dude, these books came out with none of that audience in mind.
it's why you should just be writing for like you and your friends, basically, because it's like
There's
you're-
the audience.
Yeah, because you truly have no idea whether or not your
It's
stuff's going to
such a
even have an
fickle. You
audience.
have no
Yeah.
idea.
No clue.
No idea.
So why worry about it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should.
I think if you and I wrote about this. I wrote about this in one of the blog posts I posted, but like you should make art that is so unapologetically you that people who like your art will also like you. Where
Yeah.
it's just like
I like that.
you,
I do
you
like that.
can't
I like
get
that.
away from the like there's the death of the author thing. Like you should make art that is so just you that if somebody likes your shit, they also like you.
I like that a lot.
It's all. I mean,
like
it's
that a
double ended,
lot.
which is just like you could be a shitty person, and then they still like it, or they like you as a person, they still like it. It's yeah, like you said, the art speaks for itself. It asks for the author to be dead.
And you can't worry about if people are going to hate you either. It's in the sense that it's like, if you're putting your thing out in the world and and people are going to end up liking it or not, the only thing you should really be concerning about yourself with are, the people who are going to come and approach yourself and be like, hell yeah, me too.
I mean, if you had
basically it.
somebody who, you have the track marks. If you had someone in the comments posted a detailed description of why they don't like it, page line by line, wouldn't that be very fascinating to you?
I would delete the comment. I would copy the text. I would delete the comment.
You've got their address already.
yeah, their address.
because they
But
sent,
wouldn't that
because
be
they sent, because they
fascinating?
sent money to ko-fi.com/wrong room. But like, yeah, that I would definitely read
If that was line by line, someone talking about how much they hate your system, that would be fascinating.
I'm not even that passionate about that system.
Right.
And I made it.
That would be so fascinating.
I worked on track marks or some permutation thereof for 12 years. The only reason why and that's not like, oh wow, I put in so much work. That's like, it's been languishing in my brain. And the only reason I finally published is because I have to get this thing out of my head so I can move on. And I did. So if somebody came along and was like, oh wow, here's a line by line review or like a fucking video essay on my game.
That'd be incredible.
I mean, I would be like, holy shit.
Someone put
what?
that much energy, even if it was hate,
into a
it's
thing
passion.
I made. Yeah,
It's still passion.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. Like
Yeah.
imitation is the highest form of art. Yeah.
What kind of rant sona do you think the person tearing apart tracks marks would have?
Hopefully a dragon because it'd be on brand. Yeah.
Oh, like their username?
No,
No,
like,
like
the little image, the little like you know how like back in the
Hazbin Hotel.
2012,
I want that. It would be Hazbin Hotel. Have to be.
I'd have to be.
Have to be.
has been hotel son or Helluva boss daughter.
Hello,
Yes,
boss.
or,
are those different things?
or-
I don't even
yeah.
know, man.
Yeah, that's what's
Oh
your
God,
answer.
there's different things.
This
Yeah,
is
there are
what
different
the
things.
Aren't they the same art?
It's the same person, yeah.
Oh,
One of them, it's just
I don't know.
They,
Don't watch it.
they pulled a Roger Waters on it. They said, "Hey, rest of the members of Pink Floyd, here's the wall or the pros and cons of hitchhiking. Whichever ones we don't make here, I'm gonna make myself."
Oh, okay.
Except like not even close to that amount of cultural cachet. But
I didn't even realize there's two.
Yeah.
I just repeat whatever
A24
the
bought.
young kids are saying.
A24 bought Hazbin Hotel, which is they're the ones who produce it, which is fucking
Really?
yeah.
I mean,
it's an
they're
A24 thing,
pretty
it's
big
crazy.
now. You can't even look at them as indie anymore.
Well,
with how much they do.
I think you can, in the sense that in the sense that their business model is indie. It's not necessarily that they themselves are small. It's that they still only are like, all right, budget for the movie, $5 million,
Oh, okay.
which
Maybe.
allows them to like greenlight basic. They
Weird
still
stuff.
are able to greenlight things that no one else would ever. And
Yeah,
that
there's
ends up
tons of
being
stuff
really
like,
cool.
whose audience is this? And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's cool, but whose audience is this?
Yeah, and in fact, I hope A24 continues to get bigger because then that would mean they just,
They keep going until
sick idea. Here's $6 million.
right
Do the thing
until the
you know.
CEO changes, and then it's going to be a run of the mill
Yeah.
CEO. But for now,
entropy will win eventually.
it's
but
going to
I'd like
become
to-
just something.
I'm worried that we did pass the A24 golden years, but I don't know because we got
You're going to have stuff.
well because we got Everything Everywhere All at Once and Uncut Gems like relatively recently.
Isn't A24 doing the long legs?
yes,
Yes.
I believe so. And
That
I don't
looks
remember.
horrifying. It was
I
so
think so. I
scary.
remember the name, but I could be wrong.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you know, then yeah, it sounds like you both assume that it is that way.
Yeah.
I think there's probably some gems left in A24.
Well, Bo is
I think so.
afraid.
Yeah,
know.
Bo's Afraid is so much fun.
I mean, like
yeah.
the whale came out, but like no one's ever talked about it except the awards
the
ceremony.
whale. Well, the whales.
Where the hell did it stream? I think it doesn't even stream anywhere.
I don't know.
The whale came out 2 years ago, and it was like, oh look, he won an award. Who's seen the whale?
There was a review. There was a review of that movie, like on I forget what site it was, that got taken down because but it makes a very good point because I rewatched some scenes from the movie to verify that, and it's so true. It's like fat guy does a fat thing, music, you're gonna die, fatty. Boom, 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 boom.
I mean,
And it's like that's like literally like every scene where he's like eating like a whole pizza, the music is like da 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 da.
Feel bad. You're fat. You're fat. You're
what's
fat.
happening? Like,
Go kill yourself.
yeah,
You're fat.
that completely took me out of it. Now that I'm like watching that scene, and I'm like, man, the music is like, dude's just eating a pizza. I mean, it's not great, but like you're treating it like
The
it's
worst thing around. Yeah.
Yeah, what
Imagine
the fuck?
being on set when they filmed that and just the silence.
Pizza, take 10.
Pizza take 10. Fucking Brendan Fraser has to go throw up so he can do it again. Like,
Can we change the pizza? No.
no,
Same pizza.
we got
Take 10.
6 fucking cheese.
Same pizza. Dig it out of the bucket.
Same pizza.
Oh, that's worse.
Oh, nope. Back on the plate, Brendan. It goes back on the plate, piggy boy. Back on the plate.
Stitch it back together. Yeah.
Don't you want the Oscar? Don't you want the Oscar?
I feel they were dangling that same carrot on a stick in front of fucking Leonardo DiCaprio when he did The Revenant. Which I love The Revenant, but it's literally like, hey, do you want to suffer? That's the only way you can get your Oscar. And he's like, okay.
Sit out in the woods.
My manicure from Wolf of Wall Street just wore off, so I guess you know we'll we'll be a hillbilly now. I guess I don't know.
Oh yeah. Man, what are we talking about?
So fucking. Funny.
Maybe we just take a break. It's been almost an hour.
Oh, well, we need another 4 minutes.
All right. Assume whatever you want to
Just screaming like fuck. No, it's fine. You can stop it.
How's the weather? How's the weather been?
It's hot. It's fucking hot, dude. It's so fucking hot.
It's not Texas.
I bet it's crazy.